Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Cooler or Mistake. Today I am going to analyze a big pot I lost and try to see if I made a mistake or if it was simply a cooler. Let's see the hand. So I'm sitting in middle position with pocket jacks. I choose to open and the big blind chose to call. Looks like a regular. And the flop is 3 to 7, a rainbow. I chose to c-bet here, about half pot. Villain chose to check raise. In his check raising range, unless he's passive, he should have, well, of course he has the top value, like pocket raise, pocket deuces, and pocket sevens. I don't think he defends 3 deuce, even if suited. And I think he might sometimes raise, if he's aggressive, something like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, which he might not choose to 3-bet given our positions. I'm not sure he's raising with a7 and things like this. Probably not. Regarding the bluffs he could have, I think he could have ace-4, ace-5, he could have 4-5 obviously, he could have 5-6, maybe even something like 4-6 suited. And he could have a big amount of backdoor throws, double backdoors, things like 8, 9, heart, diamonds, or clubs. He could also have, many others that I didn't mention, but yeah, he could have basically double backdoors and so on as bluffs. I chose to call here, and the turn is the 8. The 8 only improves pocket 8 in his check raising range. I don't think he's check raising 7-8. I don't think he's check raising that many other awesome hands. Of course, you could also have something like 8-9 suited, which now becomes a better hand for him, but that's still a bit. So I think all in all, the 8 is not a bad card, doesn't change much. Again, as long as I don't think he's check raising 7-8, 8-3, or 8 deuce, I think we are pretty safe in assuming the 8 doesn't change much. So he chose here to bet, and he bets big. I kind of expect this sizing from a regular, and I think we should still call with this hand. We're still at the top of our range. Plus, he could also have some worst value bets, things like pocket 9s or pocket 10s if he's on the aggressive side. Given his aggression, we have here the HUD, and in the few hands I have on this guy, he's check raising a lot on the flop, 25% so far. Of course, not a huge sample, and not much else to say here, I guess. And I choose to call the turn. River the queen. The queen doesn't change much, to be honest. I don't think, again, he's check raising 7 queen or things like this. Maybe queen 8 suited with a backdoor flush draw, but this is the only hand I think got better here. And he chose to shove, and I think since most of his draws or potential bluffs basically missed, I think we should still call here. Ace-4, ace-5 still is a misdraw, like 5-6, like 4-6, like things also like 9-10 suited. He could have 9-10 with heart, clubs, or diamonds. And if he had a bluff, maybe he was even bluffing something like ace deuce, I don't know. And this is certainly a hand he could choose to turn into bluff and bluff 3 times, who knows. So here at the end I chose to call, and he had pocket raise at the end, and I wanted to see if this hand was on my side a mistake or not. To be honest, I don't think, but let's see the spot on GTO Wizard and judge. So here is the spot that I set on GTO Wizard. This is what should be his calling range from the big blind. Might be a bit tighter in reality, I don't know, this really depends on villain. Anyway, he should not donk bet that much here. He checks, and I bet 50% with jacks, which was a nice play. Villain should then raise with this kind of hand. As we see, he should definitely raise his set more often than not. He should also raise something like 7-8 sometimes, but very rarely, and he should raise, technically speaking, ace-7 suited. As I said, I don't expect him to raise this that much, and maybe we will see how this hand changes with my assumptions on that by using Deep Solver. The main bluffs he has, of course, are usually hands with draws or backdoors or double backdoors, like King 5 suited with a backdoor, 4 5, 5 6, all hands we mentioned. 4 6, well, not that much for 5 4 6. We should also raise sometimes things like 7 5 and 4 7, which I don't expect him to do almost ever. But yeah, this is his raising range. Anyway, versus piece raise, we should definitely call with jacks. As we see, there is no doubt in the call here. The turn is the 8th, and on the 8th, his strategy should definitely be overbet or nothing. And he chose to overbet at the end, and once he overbets, of course his range is more polarized, and pocket jacks is still a call here, which is of course fine in my opinion in general. Let's see what is he overbetting with on the turn to be more precise. To see if we agree kind of with this overbetting range. He should overbet with his value, of course, pocket uses, pocket raise sometimes, and the main bluffs he could have, as we mentioned, 9 10, 4 5, f6, ace 4, things like this. 6 9 also, which was one hand he could have that we didn't mention. So given this very polarized range with still a decent amount of bluffs, I think we should definitely call. And so does the solver. The river is the queen. On this river he chose to shove. When he shoves, his range is basically, well, set and 2 pairs for value. Here he has a couple of combos of king, of queen, but I don't think he's gonna have them in reality, and anyway there are not that many, so I don't think they change much our strategy. We should still shove something like ace 4 and those busted draws, low busted draws, 4 5 and 5 6. So once he shove, our calling range, assuming he bluffs enough of course, is gonna be this. As you see, jacks is the bottom range of our calling range. Every time we see a solution, if we see a hand which is mixed color fold, this means this is our bottom range. And here we can clearly see that our bottom calling range is jacks, 10s and 9s. And well, aces also is pretty close. That's curious. Actually, it's easier to call queens than aces, simply because in the shoving range of villain as a bluff there is ace 4 and ace 5 that of course with pocket aces we block. Well, ace 4 that with pocket aces we block, but we don't block it with queens, for example. So yeah, I think theoretically speaking my hand was fine. I would say it might change if you think our opponent might be more passive than this. If you think our opponent is more passive than this, definitely we should adjust, and probably this close calls, our bottom calling range should become our top folding range. So if you think villain is not showing this kind of range on the river, then we should definitely fold if we don't expect him to bluff as much. Now that I see this range, actually, I don't think we need to check the hand on Deep Solver, simply because, I didn't expect him to check raise that many 7s on the flop. But anyway, GTO Wizard checks them on the turn, and I think so it doesn't change much because it doesn't have those in his betting range. And I think on the river, his shoving range will definitely look like something like this. So I think in this spot versus a regular, we can be pretty confident that a standard solution like this is gonna be accurate. But yeah, if by any chance you think your opponent is passive, please do not make that call. Keep in mind, our bottom calling range can be a fold if you expect villain not to be this aggressive with his bluffs here.